She was Biden's border czar when we've had a record number of border crossings. And incompetence, she stood side by side with Joe Biden on every single foreign policy disaster we've had, including the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. She owns that record. That's all Donald Trump has to talk about. The rest will take care of itself.
She's not incompetent. Okay, like you don't become the Attorney General of California
or a U.S. senator
or the Vice President of the United States. By calling her incompetent, you're calling the 81 million people who voted for her incompetent as well. But let me just say this. That is what we're talking about.
That's Wolf Blitzer in a CNN panel having a meltdown and playing the race card after a Republican strategist called Kamala Harris incompetent. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like CNN is back in full-blown shill mode and backing Kamala Harris after putting pressure on Biden to drop out after his pathetic presidential debate against Donald Trump. They've downplayed her far-left record, lied about her being border czar, and now they're crying racism at every attack thrown at her.
I don't think the campaign has to go anywhere near any of that, right? This is in a lot of ways the same campaign it was last week. It comes down to the three I's: immigration, inflation, and competence. You have Kamala Harris, who's the deciding vote for the Inflation Reduction Act that actually spent trillions of dollars causing inflation.
There is a way to attack her record on policy without calling her a name. Incompetent is an unflattering name. And when people do that to black women, that is what Van is talking about. You might not agree, but as a black woman, let me tell you how we hear it.
Well, you know who disagrees are the voters. The voters right now believe the Biden-Harris administration is one of the most incompetent administrations in American history. That's not me. That's the voters right now. They're not just saying about the vice president. They're saying about everyone in the administration right now.
You know, you gotta love how liberals will try to set the rules their opponents can play by. Now that they have another candidate that ranks somewhere in the ridiculous victim hierarchy, they're gonna try to tell Republicans what is and isn't acceptable to attack her on. Which is ridiculous because they've spent decades calling every Republican candidate an authoritarian, bigoted monster. They've shown that they have no issue attacking their opponents on the basis of race and gender, but they suddenly want conservatives to be sensitive to how it sounds when their candidate is called incompetent. Which, sorry, but maybe the people you called deplorable for years are just a little too jaded to give a crap at this point.
Let me get Van to respond to that. Go ahead, Van.
Well, I agree with Ashley. Look, we're gonna have to learn how to talk to each other. There's certain things that there's a smart way and a dumb way to do anything. It's a very dumb way to after 400 years of this mistreatment of black people and black women to say you're incompetent. Maybe that makes sense to you in your world and you wouldn't take it that personally, but that has been the slur. That has been the core, that we are not worthy. We're not as smart. We're not as good. We can't do stuff. And so when you have someone who's overcome all of that again and again and again and again, and that's the word you pick, incompetent, I'm just going to tell you, it's not going to work as well for you as you think it. And what you're going to wind up doing is getting a lot of people who are not going to vote, who really did not care, who were sick of all of it. People are going to crawl through broken glass to vote against a party who says that about a black woman. Pick another word. Don't pick that one.
Well, make sure you pass that memo along to Obama, who waited forever to endorse Biden because, according to reports, he doesn't think she can win due to being incompetent. I mean, it is a little telling that both Obama and Biden couldn't even be bothered to show up in person to endorse her, but instead chose to do bizarrely staged phone calls to offer their support. You know, if Republicans fall for this race card woke scolding crap again, they deserve to lose. I mean, this isn't 2008 or 2012. The right needs to call this stuff out and say that they've had enough of it. If their candidates really believe that we're in a culture war like they talk about all the time, that's the bare minimum they can do at this point. It's basically the price of entry. It's the initiation ritual our leaders and candidates should exhibit when running for office. Because if they don't, the left is just going to keep using political correctness as a cudgel to beat the right into submission. And frankly, at this point, we can't afford those kinds of missteps. But let me know what you think. Is it offensive to say Kamala Harris is incompetent? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!